Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to mount photographs on foam core. The tools we're going to use here are a razor knife. Now, this is an Olfa snap-off blade knife. I'm going to tell you something about razor knives. Every household should have one. They're hugely handy. Don't buy the little crappy plastic ones. Definitely don't get the ones with the little skinny blades because they are useless. Spend a few bucks, get a nice heavy metal one, will actually do the job you want. And then get a bunch of extra blades, because the reason we call them a snap-off blade knife is, he said, getting his pliers, in order to sharpen it, we snap the blade off. So you line up the blade with the score on the blade with the edge of your knife, and you just grab it with a pair of pliers and you go snap, and don't point it at your eyes just in case. And then dump the broken bit in a box somewhere so that if you throw it in the wastebasket, you're liable to cut your hands later on. So a good sharp knife will take you a long way. Secondly, glue stick. Now the stuff I'm using here is archival quality glue stick. Look, see, it even says on it somewhere. I swear it does. Anyway, it promised me on the box it was archival quality. I don't know what archival quality means in the context of glue stick. What I like about it is it's purple. So it goes on purple so you know where you've been. And in archives, we like to say you can't tell where you're going unless you know where you've been. Straight edge. You need a straight edge. This is a particularly useful bit of straight edge, and I don't think most people are going to have access to this kind of tool. It is quite heavy, it's got a sharp blade, it's a very handy piece of material. But I don't know even where we got it from. This isn't, I'm not doing this from home, I'm doing this from work, and work has resources home does not have. So at home I often use an artist's T-square, which I can jam up against the edge of the table, and that gives me a nice solid piece to cut on. Because remember, this puppy has to not move. So no matter what you're doing, you need a good straight edge. Some paper. This will become obvious in a bit. Foam core. Now I have already cut this foam core. It's foam core, see, foam paper. Alright, so the foam is in the core, hence the name. I've already sort of rough cut this to be a little bit bigger than the work I'm mounting. You don't want to cut it to be exactly the same size, because basically when you mount it, you want to be able to slap this puppy down and then trim around it. You do not want to get glue. Oh yeah, cutting mat. Don't cut on the kitchen table, your wife will have your head. I know whereof I speak. Okay, you don't want to get glue on your work surface. You don't want to get it on your hands if you can help it, although that's difficult to help. So, I use a piece of brown paper. This something came wrapped in this. Whenever I get brown paper as a wrapping on a parcel or a letter, or if I get it scrunched up to use as packing in a box, I flatten it out and keep it because it is so handy for all sorts of things. So I'm going to put my piece of work down on the brown paper, and then I'm going to start putting glue on it. Now, hold it at one end, work it in one direction only. Notice I am going for an even spread. I don't want to have a whole bunch of bumps of glue because you don't want to have a lot of bumps. I need to get the edges or else they'll come up. Right? You want a nice, clean, professional presentation. Your edges have to be glued right to the backing. Alright, there's that. There's my image. And I slap it down. Now, so I'm going to put the image underneath my paper and rub it down. Now you don't want bubbles, right? Photographing paper is good because it's quite stiff. And so you're working with it. I actually rarely have a problem with bubbles doing this kind of thing, but I do a lot of it. So you want to be careful. Start at the middle, work your way out, push down firmly, but not so hard that you're leaving finger marks in the foam core. Remember, foam core is pretty soft and you can actually dent it. You don't want to dent it. And so I do that for a while. Oh, that's very exciting. And we're done. And we missed a spot. And we totally missed a spot. Okay, well that's fixable. I do find that the glue stick dries fairly quickly, and so you do this sometimes. So we'll try it again. And see, I got a bit of glue there on the edge, but that shouldn't be a problem because I'm going to go this way so that I make sure the glue gets kind of pushed away. You need to get your glue on thick enough that it's going to hold this stuff. So look here. There we go. That's down. Okay. Now we're good. All right. Now we're going to cut it. So take your straight edge, lay it across like that, and you see how I know where I am because I've got a little tiny bit of photograph there. Okay, well, oddly enough, the thing stopped. Video stopped just as I was about to cut off the edges and trim it. So let me just go back over that, although I've already done it because I didn't realize the video had cut off. Yeah, anyhow. So listen, what we're doing here, you've got to pretend that there's a little edge sticking out here. So you take your straight edge, hold it nice and steady, you line it up a little tiny bit back so that you're actually going to cut off the tiniest amount of the image itself, and you go and you cut it, and then you move around and you cut it again, and you move around and you cut it again. Do all four sides. Now the trick here is to keep your straight edge very steady, okay? Because if you don't, keep your straight edge steady, so put a lot of weight on it. Watch your thumb. I hope you can see my thumb in this. Watch your thumb, because if your thumb ends up here, you're going to go la 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 la, and you're going to cut the end of your thumb off, and then you're going to bleed all over the work, and it's a bugger to get blood out of photographs. So try not to cut your end of your thumb off. So watch where your hands are. And if you're kids, don't try this at home. Might want to get your mom or dad to handle this particular part of the project, unless your mom and dad are complete putzes, in which case maybe you better take a stab at it yourself. So anyway, when you lay the blade down, make sure that the blade's at quite a flat angle, like that, so that you get a clean cut, and steady, even pressure, not too fast, not too slow, all the way along the length of the straight edge until you're done. You might have to go a second time to cut through the paper at the bottom, and you should get a nice clean edge. Remember to keep your blade straight up and down so that you get a 90-degree cut, because then it'll look pretty. See? Otherwise, if your blade's at an angle like this, it's gonna bevel out, or it's gonna bevel in. It won't look as good. So you want to have a nice straight blade, and you cut better that way anyway. So you just and then do all four sides, and then you're done. Now, should your straight edge happen to slip, and should you happen to cut into the image, it's not a big deal. It's a very thin cut, and it may be that you can kind of push it together and no one's going to notice. If you can repair it, that's fine. If not, really, it's not going to have cut too deeply in. All you got to do is set your straight edge back a little bit and re-trim it. So you just crop it pretty, right? So as far as mounting it goes, two ways, lots of ways, I suppose. Double-sided tape, very handy. You can get it anywhere. Well, you can get it not anywhere, but you can certainly get it at Staples or at Michael's, craft store, place like that. So you run a little double-sided tape down it, piece there, cut it off. Don't cut your fingers. Actually, scissors is better, but I don't have a pair of scissors. I don't know why. La la la, da, da, da. Et voila. But if you're using one of those pop-up display units that you get, like the black carpety kind of ones that you stick things on with Velcro, then you're going to need Velcro. So Velcro is easy. You buy some Velcro strips, or buttons, sorry, dots. I had to buy squares, which are too big, so I cut them. And you put the scratchy side down on your piece, like that. And then one there. One to each corner is good. One there. And one there. And that is essentially what you gotta do. Very easy. Use good tools, use a sharp knife, don't cut yourself. And have fun.